Calgary Flames, they may have lost 4-0 on the scoreboard tonight, but they took a major step forward in Mission McKenna. 4-point swing goes the Flames' way tonight as they separate themselves from the New York Rangers in the inverse standings. It's a big night for Team Tank, and we have a big night here planned on Afterburner. My name is Robert Munich, and alongside me tonight is my buddy Ryan Pike. Pike, how's it going? How are you feeling?
18 to go.
18 to go. You're goddamn right about that. Afterburner is a presentation of our friends at Bet365. Whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app and get in on the game. Use the code NATION. And if you want to get your comment read on the show tonight, send us a super chat. Proceeds from our super chat go to the Youth Centers of Calgary. Youth Centers of Calgary is a place where kids are welcomed and accepted as they are, a place where they can get a break from the chronic stress that is a reality for many of their lives and can flourish through connection and fun. Now, Pike, last season when the Flames were in that stretch, the home stretch, they were right in the playoff mix. There were a few games that they lost that I think you could look back on and say, like, damn, like had they won those, they would have made it. You look at the St. Louis back-to-back. You look at the game that they blew the third period against the Anaheim Ducks. Tonight, heading into this game against the New York Rangers, I was worried that they're going to win this one. But it would have been essentially like the opposite effect of what we saw last season. I almost wonder if at the end of this year, we would have looked back and said, oh, that was a game that they needed to lose against the New York Rangers to get to the position that they need to in the draft lottery. But credit to the boys. They put in one hell of a tank effort, especially in the second period. That second period was a bit of a mess, but they pulled it off. The New York Rangers move ahead 2 points, and the Flames are still in 31st place. They have 39 losses this year, and they're comfortably in 31st place in the overall standings. So a big night for Mission McKenna, a big night for the tank. What are your kind of overall thoughts on what we saw tonight?
I am more of a settle for Stenberg kind of guy, but I see your point. The Flames are a team, we've always talked about this, where because they don't have elite finishing ability, the margins are very small. And if you take out a Nazem Kadri from your lineup, the margin's getting even smaller. And so, even if you look at the game they played 24 hours ago in Washington, D.C., the Flames weren't all that bad in that game. They were somewhat bad at key moments, like just defensive lapses. To be honest, there's a bunch of guys. This is a group of guys that, many of them haven't played together a lot this year. And so there's a lot of sort of, what am I supposed to do with my hands energy? Guys sort of near the right spot, but not in the perfect spot. And so mistakes are made. And that's natural this time of year. But, last night the Flames had enough execution by key guys at key times that the game was close. And then third period, it wasn't. This one, the game was, it felt like kind of that the balance of play was pretty close. The difference is what? A 5-on-3, which, okay, you don't want to give up a 5-on-3. The Rangers have a good power play. And a couple defensive lapses, and then a sneaky cross check that knocked down Zayne correctly to a 2-on-1. So, in the aggregate, it's not like the Flames got their show run. They put up some good numbers. I think the scoring chances were close. But, they're not a great road team this year. They don't have a lot of finishing ability. So the chances that if the Flames and the Rangers had an equal number of chances based on skill level and ability to finish, I'd probably favor the Rangers. And in this game, that was the difference. The Flames key guys, we'll pick on poor Matt Coronato, and I feel bad because this time last year on the New York trip, he had a run. And this week last year was the one that made, I think, a lot of fans go, oh, God damn it, they might actually do this. They didn't quite do this, but it wasn't. That week was, I think, sort of emblematic of the things that went right for the Flames last year. Several improbable comeback wins against the New York area teams. Whereas this one so far, in a 2-game set against two teams outside the playoffs right now, within a 24-ish hour period, they lost in the aggregate 11-3.
Yeah,
that's I'm a proponent of you are what your record says you are. And this year, and the last 2 games, the Flames haven't been good enough, and as a result, we are talking about and hawking draft lottery merch rather than talking about and/or hawking obnoxious playoff merch.
Yeah. And you know what? Another guy you can throw into the mix tonight that went in the Flames' favor was Jonathan Quick. He was very good. I don't know what Matt Coronato did to Jonathan Quick, but it must have been something bad because Quick was out to get Coronato tonight. Coronato had 3 or 4 unbelievable chances to score tonight, and he just cannot buy a goal right now. I believe that's 12 games in a row without a goal for Matt Coronato, and we're seeing it here on the highlights. Quick robbed him, especially the last one late in the third period. Matt Coronato literally had an open net to shoot at, and Quick somehow got his glove on it, like the very top of his glove, somehow time to get goalied. And tonight it was a good thing in the grand scheme of things for the Calgary Flames.
Yeah, like that sequence is basically the game. Via daily faceoff, not daily faceoff, natural stat trick. I'm mixing up our good resources. 5-on-5, Rangers scoring chances 31-16, high dangers 12-6. Shots on goal were more even. It was 27-18. So like it wasn't, about 60% to 66, close to 70% favoring the Rangers. So I think the problem is the Flames had, puck possession. If you look at the Corsi and Fenwick, a little bit, Rangers had slightly more possession, as you'd expect. There's the home team, but then as you get to shots and more dangerous possession, like the more dangerous the possession metric, the more it favored the Rangers. And I think, as I mentioned, that's kind of the way the game went.
Yeah, 100%. We'll dive into the game. We'll start in the first period, but first there were a couple milestones tonight. Ryan Strome was playing in his 900th career game, which is a super impressive accomplishment. And if he plays in every single game for the Flames this year and next year, he will hit 1,000 games in the final game of the regular season next year. So that's kind of something to look out for. And then the other milestone is Adam Klapka played in his 100th game as a member of the Flames. And Michael Backlund, he's 1 point away from 600, 1 goal away from tying Kent Nielsen for 5th on the Flames all-time list. So I was hoping maybe we'd see a goal tonight from Michael Backlund, but we didn't. So we'll have to wait for that.
I'm going to actually you there, sir. Next year's 84 games. So 18 games left this year. So he has a bit of buffer, Ryan Strome. So hope he can be injured or scratched or sick twice next year and still make it.
Thank you very much for that. Yeah, I always forget that they're going to an 84.
So do I. I forgot. I was mapping out a few things, and something pinged to my phone, me like, oh yeah, 2 extra games. And
I'm just happy that's a shorter preseason. Thank God for that.
No one's gonna miss the preseason.
So yeah, we'll dive into the first period here. Just some of my notes. I thought it was a pretty tight checking first period. There really wasn't a whole lot of room out there. Not a whole lot going on. In terms of individual players, I actually liked Zayne in the first. I thought he made some really nice passes, absorbed contact well. He laid out Connor Sherry in front of the Flames net on that rush, which you like to see. And he had one of his best chances of the season. Matvei Gridin fed him a cross-ice pass, and Parekh was essentially in almost all alone, and he missed high, but it was one of his better chances of the year. So I was impressed by that. There
was one play he made in the first period where he's sort of at the left point, and he receives a blue line to blue line, D to D pass at the point, and there's a Rangers forechecker coming, and instead of freezing and going like, oh no, what do I do? He just sort of spun, took the contact with his ass, like he basically just blocked the puck with his ass and his hips, and then just sort of spun and made a nice. And then he spun the guy off and just skated down to the zone and made a nice play. So, he did not play a perfect game. His defensive instincts are still being honed at this level, but you can see like things that he's doing, his details of his game, especially with the puck, I think are starting to come along. I think as quickly as we hope they would.
Yeah. And the thing that I'm seeing from Parekh is, like you just kind of pointed out, he's such a smart player. You're seeing some of the reads he makes, some of the passes that he's making, and he's doing this all as a 19/20-year-old, and he's doing it with a frame that's not quite ready for the NHL. I'm really excited to see what he's going to look like 2 to 3 years from now when he has a chance to add muscle, to add speed, all that kind of stuff. I think he's going to turn into a really good player, but clearly, like in my opinion, he's not ready for the NHL this season. Obviously, the American Hockey League would have been the best place for him, but the fact that he's doing what he's doing, like with this body, I think is kind of impressive. So I'm pretty happy with what we're seeing from him. My expectations are quite low right now, but I'm thinking 2 or 3 years from now, I think Parekh's really going to explode and have some better offensive numbers than what he's showing right now.
Yeah, and I think Rome wasn't built in a day. Parekh being a better player than he is now was not going to turn the tides for this season. And so you take what you can get out of the season and you learn some lessons. We know more about him than we did 6 months ago. And if the question is, can they take what they've learned about his game and his deficiencies and physical and otherwise, and use those to work on them? Yeah, I think so. So I think OHL would have been a bad idea because you just would have ragged all the OHL and sort of, you can get some complacency if you're not being challenged. I honestly think he was still too good for the AHL. I think the AHL, he would have had monster numbers, but I don't know if he would have been physically or mentally challenged as much as he is this year. And so as much as you hate to see a kid who's working his ass off go through adversity, I think he's going to be all the better for it in a year or two.
Yep, I agree. Now, I'm curious to get your thoughts on the beginning of next season. Do you see Parekh starting the regular season with the Flames, or do you think he might get a stint with the Wranglers to get his game going a bit?
Here's the question: what would the point of the Wranglers be? Like I keep him
where
he is.
It's strength and speed, pretty much. Those are two areas that he does need to improve, and you can work on that in the AHL.
I think he's too good for the AHL now. If you're going to have him be faster and stronger, I think he'd still be too good for the AHL. I'd rather him learn wherever lessons he wants to learn in the NHL. Like, he's not, there's some players you can sort of. I'll say this. Why is Matvei Gridin here? Because he's too good for the AHL. So Matvei Gridin's game, I think, is better served learning and growing and developing and learning tough lessons at this level. I'd say the same thing for Parekh. I think Parekh, he's going to be a special player for the team. And to get there, I think he's going to have to go through the NHL path to get there.
And now there's a spot open for him, too, with the trade of Mackenzie Weegar, which definitely helps his case for next season.
Oh, yeah.
We'll jump into the goals here, Jack. 4 New York Ranger goals. We'll start off late in the first period. The Rangers, they get a minute 44, 5-on-3 Paux. Boo picked up his 400th career point. So a couple milestones there for the Rangers.
That's Harvard legend Adam Fox.
Yeah, what a jerk, hey? Ugh, goddamn Adam Fox.
They got stuff for him. They got so much stuff in that trade.
But Pike,
so
had Adam Fox been on the Flames in that 2021-2022 season, could that have maybe got them over the top against the Oilers?
But then they wouldn't have had Hanifin and Lindholm.
I feel like they still could have swung that deal because Ferland and Hamilton were kind of the main pieces. Because, I think the Carolina Hurricanes just put Adam Fox in that deal just to take a shot at signing him. I don't think they had any realistic expectations that they were going to get it done 100%.
They got so much for him. I don't know. I do find it very funny that he gets booed every time he touches the puck, though. At some point, I need to interview him and be like, what do you think about this? Do you think it's funny? I would hope he thinks it's funny, because otherwise it feels mean. But I kind of think my hope is he thinks it's funny.
We'll move on to the second period, and it was an elite tank period by the Calgary Flames. They were awful in those 20 minutes. The Rangers outscored them 2-0. The Rangers hit 3 posts, I believe, in that second period. Had some really good chances, and Dustin Wolf had to be strong. If it wasn't for Dustin Wolf, that game could have been 5-6-0 after 2 periods. So we'll move on to the goal. Noah Laba, he kind of
negates the guy trying to get the puck. Good. But he also kind of gets, he basically has to take himself out of the play entirely to negate the guy, and the puck still stays with the Rangers. So I don't know. They are best, but then there's only one other guy on his team in the same zone. And yeah, I don't know what Zary's supposed to do there. Like, if you stay with 43, then the other guy's wide open. If you go to the challenge the puck carrier, you essentially have to know the puck gets past him and Parekh before it happens to start moving. And then either way, he'd have either a shot or a passing lane. Mm-hmm. So he's kind of screwed. He had 3 options and all of them sucked.
Yeah, I mean, if you're really nitpicking, maybe you could have said he could have slid to block the pass and maybe cut down the angle a bit. But I mean, that's nitpicking.
Then you're taking yourself out of the play entirely.
Yeah. And then, like, when it comes to Parekh, I mean, like, what else do you expect him to do there? I mean, sure, you'd probably like the puck to go in along the boards there and engage in a battle and not have it be left there for the Ranger to make that pass. But overall, I mean, I thought he played it just totally fine, especially considering, he's a 20-year-old, he's getting out-muscled.
Maybe in another year when he has 5 or 10 pounds more muscle, he shoves the guy more and sort of gets a bit more daylight and has a chance to sort of regain possession. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't think he played this poorly. I didn't think he played perfectly either, but I would say he played it more good than bad. Yeah, I agree. And then we were talking about Connor Zary there. I actually think Zary is like one of the more fascinating players over the next couple years for the Flames. We've seen the good. We've seen the dynamic Zary prior to that injury against the Anaheim Ducks, where he's dangling, he's creating offense,
He's finding his teammates. He looked like he could have been a 50-point player, but just after that injury against Anaheim, it just seems like it just hasn't really been there for him. I'm curious, where do you see Zary right now? Where do you see him in the future? Is this a guy who's going to be able to turn things around and become a core member of the Flames moving forward? Or is this kind of the guy we should expect for the rest of his time in Calgary?
I don't know. Ryan Strome, he spoke with us. I think he does subsequent media availability too on the road. But when he spoke with us, we were talking about like, just the idea, like he basically got thrown in with no warning skate with two guys in Pospisil and Zary's never played with. He was really complimentary about both the guys' game, especially Zary, because like Zary's just, he has the ability to, he's such a dynamic player and has the ability to play with dynamism. And so if you can find guys to complement him, I think he can do well. But I think the challenge for him has always just been, consistent line mates, consistent role, and just sort of let him go and let him build an identity for his game. Because I think the big challenge for him is like he's, we use the term Sam Benneting a player where, the challenge with Sam Bennett, they just change friggin' head coaches every couple of years. And then they had a new guy being like, here's the new guy coming in being like, okay, I figured out how to fix Sam Bennett. He's a winger now. Okay, I figured out how to fix Sam Bennett. He's a center now. And they haven't changed coaches nearly as often on Zara, which is nice. But I also think because he can do a lot of things, I think he's an easy guy to flex into different positions. And to me, I think he might be destined/doomed to be a high-end complementary player rather than sort of a piece you build around, because he's so versatile and because you can basically use him to fill in gaps. He feels like a guy right now that instead of building a line around, like say you build a line around Michael Backlund, because his game is such a defined identity that you're like, okay, here's what this line is going to be all about. Let's find guys to complement him. With Zary, he's a guy that you use to complement a more primary piece right now.
Yeah. You always hear coaches talk about how they don't really necessarily like to build like lines. They like to build forward pairs. I almost feel like Connor Zary is going to be like a complement to pairs moving forward. That's kind of how I see it playing out. But in terms of Zary this season, for me, I say just you flush this down the toilet. You almost completely forget about it, and you hope he comes back next year. And
that's what we said last year, though.
But there was a reason for that because of the injury.
I think the challenge for him is just like, it's like, okay, his first year he came up was that the 22-23 year, the year that they got their show run in Edmonton, then he got called up the next week. Yeah. And so was that 22? Yeah, there was the first, yeah. And so that year was sort of a lost year. They're like, okay, flush it. We're just going to see if Zary can be an NHLer. And then last year with the knee injuries, this year is sort of just the team completely going sideways. So like, I just feel for the guy because it's hard. It's really hard to develop yourself into something when some of his circumstances beyond his control. Like, both knee injuries were kind of a fluke. They were just bad injuries, but bad that I don't think he could have done anything to avoid either of them. And the big picture macro of the hockey club is sort of conspire against him a little bit too. So I don't know. I have a soft spot for the kid. He's worked really hard. He's battled through injuries, many of which were just weird fluke injuries. He's had, I believe, concussions when he was younger in the Western League. And I think he had that, again, his first pro year, he had that weird shot block off his foot or his ankle in a rookie camp game, like the most garbage of garbage time games.
In Red Deer.
Yeah. Actually, the one in Calgary.
Oh, it was in Calgary. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, fluke injuries have just, kind of hooped him. Weird macro things have sort of hooped him. So, I don't know. He's an easy guy to root for. So I hope he's able to sort of get some kind of consistent role and consistent run, because you see flashes of it. There's so much talent there.
There is. And that's why I'm saying flush this season. And one thing I'd like to see him do is work with Daniel Fujita this offseason and work on his skating. I think he's one of the Flames' worst skaters. Even if you go look at NHL Edge data, you can see that he's, in terms of max skating speed and speed bursts, between 20 and 22 miles per hour. He's at the bottom of the Flames forward group. He's not a very good skater right now, so I'd love to see him improve upon that. If he can just be a bit of a better skater, come back next year, some confidence, and maybe the coaching staff gives him a role, like a defined role on this team that says your power play 2, you're in the top 6 as a supporting piece, like you said. I think there's something there because the talent's there, the hands are there, the hockey sense is there. There's a lot to like about this player, but I just think there's a couple things holding him back right now, and it's mainly skating and roll. So. Before we move on to the next goal here, we'll shout out our friend Derek Newman and the Derek Newman Group. Buying or selling a house, condo, townhome, or duplex in Calgary, use the Derek Newman Group. That's DERRICK, Derek Newman. He's got 65 5-star Google ratings. 90% of business is done through referrals and repeat business. His clients stay with Derek, and he's connected to the city. He volunteers. He's out and about in the community. He's just an overall great guy. So if you're buying or selling a home, be sure to reach out to our friend, Derek Newman. Visit his brand new website, dereknewmangroup.com. That's DERRICK newmangroup.com. Call 403-619-6661. We'll move on to the next goal here, the 0 goal, Jack. So this is a pretty ridiculous goal. The Rangers pull off a pretty brilliant passing play, three-way passing play between Mika Zibanejad, Gabe Perreault, and Alexis Lafreniere. Really,
there's lanes to cover up. The puck is through them, and then behind their goalie, and I would have liked to have seen the Flames be a little bit more structured in how they defended this, but it's also just a hell of a play.
Sometimes you just got to tip your cap to the opposition for a highly skilled play. That's just going to happen in the NHL.
And again, I can't. You almost want to sort of. I've never seen a player look almost apologetic to score a goal, but Lafreniere's body language just sort of screamed, "Oh, okay, I'm sorry, but sorry, man."
Now, Gabe Perreault, he was taken 23rd overall in the 2023 draft, 7 spots after the Flames picked Sam Honzek. I mean, hindsight's 2020, but looking back on that draft, I mean, after seeing Perreault, I mean, he's been lighting it up for the Rangers over the last couple of weeks here. Do you think that maybe they should have looked at Gabe Perreault, or are you pretty happy with the Honzek pick right now?
Actually, I looked at Gabe Perreault, but I mean, I don't know. Like, we're forgetting. I know he's sort of gone and forgotten because he's hurt. But Sam Honzek played some really good hockey for the Flames up until he got hurt in November. Like, people forget how like him and Backlund and Coleman were like their metrics were scary good as a shutdown line. Like, it was like a black hole every time they're in the ice. Nothing happened for the other team, and yeah, hopefully he's fully recovered, because I'm hoping that this is a very angry debate in the future in terms of Honzek's also been good, because speaking of, we were talking about Zary earlier, guys who've sort of had rough injury luck. Poor Sam Honzek.
Oh, it's been a brutal 3 years here. I feel terrible for the guy.
And despite all that, he still showed flashes of brilliance and looked like an NHL player when he had an opportunity to do it. So yeah, there's again, if you want to point to some guys overcome, so far Sam Honzek has managed to overcome. So and
the injury this year was a freak injury when he collided with Michael Backlund out of nowhere, right? Like, I don't want to put the label of injury prone on him, because a lot of them have just been kind of freak issues like this one.
He got a skate cut at the World Juniors this draft year. He got a high stick in the face, or a puck in the face, when he came back from World Juniors the year after and had to wear a bubble for like 6 weeks. I believe it was a hernia or a sports hernia. I don't know the differences, but basically, for those of you people who think, I'm going to give you guys a trigger warning. If you think medical stuff is gross, plug your ears for 5 seconds. The hernia he had, I believe, is the one where it's like the lining wall between your guts and your musculature sort of either gets weakened or ruptured or something. So like things aren't being contained the way they're supposed to. Usually it's because of like some sort of a blunt force injury or something. So my guess is he basically got hit the wrong way and stuff poked out of other stuff. So it sucks because you can't really do anything. But like all these injuries seem like, oh, that's a weird injury. Some of them are gross, weird injuries. But yeah, poor guy. And despite all that, he came up and was a useful NHL player on a team that was really in desperate need of them in the early parts of the year. So yeah, but that said, this is also me saying, Gabe Perreault, I really think you're good. And I think the Rangers this year know, but I think part of the reason why Gabe Perreault has been so good is because the Rangers have had the right pieces in place to complement the skills Gabe Perreault has. When you have a Zibanejad and a Lafreniere to play with a guy like Gabe Perreault, he looks really good. Similarly, like I think Honzek's skills veer towards sort of more the 200-foot variety right now, between his size and his smarts and the way he can use his body to sort of just negate stuff. And the Flames had Backlund and Coleman, and he looked really good. So I would say, if somebody loves you enough to put you in the NHL, you are a successful draft pick. But both
I
these
like
guys
that.
are very good. Both these
And
guys are very good.
I really felt prior to that injury for Honzek that he was on the verge of breaking out offensively. I think he already established himself physically with his skating and his defense, playing on that line with Backlund and Coleman. But I really felt like he was on the verge there to being right around a half point per game player for the rest of the season. I was really impressed with his game.
And I'm the resident optimist here, so I'll point this out. Honzek looked a little bit physically overmatched last year as a 19-year-old and gained a bunch of weight in the summer and looked really freaking good until his freak injury. So if you're going, oh no, how is Zayne Parekh going to do this, that, and the other thing? Well, Rick Davis and his team worked with Honzek over the summer and said, let's do this. And he came back and looked fantastic. And like, honestly, I'd watch a web series of Rick and Sam Honzek and Zayne Parekh working out together and driving around the summer in a van solving mysteries. Because, like, yeah, I'd say Honzek should be used as a resource to see if Zayne can copy some of the stuff he did that worked. Because, oh boy, like, Honzek is like night and day physically.
Now, like, you saw Honzek last year in person, like when you're down in the dressing room, you've seen him this year. Like, is it not like a massive difference? Like, it almost looks like a completely different guy.
He's thicker. The nice thing is he's a tall boy, so like tall boys can add the thickness without really changing a lot of what they do. Like, we've seen guys add too much muscle and slow down, and that's usually what guys that their frame is not really the kind that can carry muscle. So the nice thing is, like, Parex's fairly tall, but he's also, like, if you see him even if you see him on the ice, he's lanky. Yeah. And so you add a little bit of muscle to a lanky guy, and it can mean a lot. So we'll see. But yeah, Gabe Pro, though, this game, that line was just, they were so cooking. Good. They were cooking, and they knew what they needed to do. This is the Rangers team that won on Monday in Philly, and they looked very confident once they got their engine rolling.
They honestly look like a different team without JT Miller. It almost looks like JT Miller is kind of the elephant in the room. He's kind of slowing them down a little bit. Like, that's not looking like a good trade. Like, I remember a few weeks ago, Jeff Merrick said that this might be one of the only trades in NHL history where both teams lost. And I thought that was a really good point, because, I mean, you look at him on the Rangers this year, it's a mess. And it almost looks like there's more energy and they're having more fun when the guy's not around.
I mean, also, like, I don't know, it's all, you also have to put in mind that the Rangers put in the throw in the towel letter, the "we ain't going to be good, please don't be mad at us" letter. And so, like, if you're a player, like, I mean, we've heard about teams playing loose, and like the Rangers look like they're like, okay, we're 30 whatever health in the league, let's just play hockey and have fun. And they play like a group of guys that don't have a care in the world. They can give a hoot about draft lottery or playoff positioning. They're just trying to do their thing. And as a result, they scored 10 goals the last 2 games, and many of which were very pretty goals.
Yeah. We'll move on to the third period quickly. There wasn't a whole heck of a lot going on here. Matt Coronato, once again, he got robbed a couple times by Jonathan Quick. I just feel bad for the guy. He is totally snake bitten. 12 games without a goal. It feels like it's going to come, though, for Matt Coronato. He has been getting chances, especially, I would say, in the last 3 or 4 games. It's not one of those things where he's just totally invisible and he's not doing anything out there. I do think he is creating and he is getting that shot off, but it's just not going in right now. And I think this is kind of what Matt Coronato is going to be in the NHL. I think he's going to be a streaky goal scorer. I could see him almost being like a Brock Besser type of guy who puts up around 20 to 30 every single year. He'll go on a hot run of 20 games, and then maybe he'll go 15 without a goal, and then he'll go get hot for 30, and then he'll go 10 without. That's kind of how I see things playing out with Coronato, and I think he'll be a valuable piece for this team moving forward.
5-on-5, he led the team with 5 shots. He led the team with 8 shot attempts. He led the team with 4 scoring chances. He led the team with 3 high danger chances. His expected goals were .56. He had 0.
I would expect his expected goals to be almost close to 1 there, especially with that play in front of the net when Jonathan Quick robbed him.
The only player at 5-on-5 that had more expected goals is Ryan Strome.
Really? That does not make sense to me.
I didn't see that either. I'm like, okay, maybe he had one that was basically like a super half expected goal or something good. I thought Coronato was consistently noticeable.
Yeah. And I actually thought Morgan Frost was pretty good in that third period too. He made some pretty unbelievable passes tonight. And he set up Coronato for a couple beauties. So a little shout out to Morgan Frost there. We'll go to the last goal, the fourth and final goal for the New York Rangers. It all starts off when the Calgary's in the offense.
Like, okay, he caused the the first penalty that was the first half of the 5-on-3 that led to the first goal. Okay, he didn't really much, not really much you could do as a goalie on a 5-on-3 tip. Okay, that was a nice passing play too. Second goal, 2-on-3 for your own end, and guy was left wide open. Crazy passing play in the third goal. 2-on-1 with a crazy shot of the fourth goal. Like, I don't know what Wolf is supposed to do in any of these.
Yeah, I don't know either. And we got a final result here in the St. Louis New York Islanders game. The Blues lost in overtime. So they do pick up a point, which is great news for the Calgary Flames and Team Tank, but the New York Islanders are able to pull that one off. 4-3 is the final. This segment is brought to you by our friends at the Unicorn and the Unicorn on 4. They have 2 locations, one on 8th Avenue, right in the heart of Stephen Ave. It's Calgary's super pub, 3 floors, 3 bars, 1 destination, the sports cantina, all things sports, hockey, football, soccer, UFC, plus games like Golden Tee, Buck Hunter, pinball, and darts. They have $7 pints of mostly Canadian on Calgary Flames game days. And they also have their second location, Unicorn on 4, right in the heart of Mission. It's right on the corner of 20th Ave and 4th Street. They have daily specials. They got their happy hour brunch on Saturday and Sunday. I frequent the Unicorn on 4 quite a bit. They got great food, great drinks.
I was going to say, if people want to spot a celebrity, go to the Unicorn on 4, because you might bump into Bobby Germany. Doesn't like cooking, so he'll just be hanging out at the Unicorn.
Exactly.
Something nice, you just don't feel like it.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, go head down there and grab a burger. They got a great lamb burger, great fish tacos. Highly recommend the fish tacos there. So that we'll move on from the game. Flames lose 4-0. One guy I just want to get your opinion on here quickly, Pike, is Tyson Gross. So you put out
never heard of him.
You put out a couple days on Twitter that he's a Calgary kid. The Flames might have some interest in him. Eric Francis goes on the Sportsnet broadcast yesterday in Washington, says the Flames are interested in him. I would assume they're probably a finalist for him.
I believe the term he used was on the short list. So
on the short list.
So yeah, he's
tell us a little bit about him. Like what kind of player is he? Like what would the Flames be getting in him?
Well, Robert, to use a term that we've become accustomed to using, he's big and local. He's 6'3", 200-ish pounds, bright shot center. Flames don't have a lot of any of those things, so that's good. Local kid. His dad works for the team. Maybe that's a plus. Maybe that helps him with recruiting. But he's come up to local hockey. He's been playing at St. Cloud for 3 years. He's been, I believe, he's top 15 in NCAA scoring, 41 points this year. St. Cloud got knocked out of the conference tournament last weekend or over the weekend. So I believe he's probably mulling his options and sort of being courted as we speak. But he's the type of guy that I think a lot of college programs are like, we recruit these kind of guys because they help you build your program, and then NHL teams go, holy cow, look at this kid. He's got good numbers and he's big and he can kill penalties. I believe in the NCHC, the conference he's in, the same conference that Cole Rejdi, Abram Weeb, and others are in. He is a finalist for Forward of the Year, Defensive Forward of the Year. He's a first-team all-conference, one of the top – I haven't looked at the leaderboard lately, but I believe he's at the very least top 20 in the NCAA in points. He's just good. I believe 50 or 60, probably. I believe he's in the high 50s, low 60s for faceoff wins. Plays in every game situation for St. Cloud State. So he's a guy that you go, okay, this guy's very good. So if you're thinking of like, okay, are there comparables? I would say Flames have a toolsy left shot guy in Carter King, who's a little bit smaller. They have a toolsy left shot guy in Sam Morton, who's a little bit smaller, but not too much smaller. I would say he's a bigger, potentially more skilled version of those two guys. And I think that would be like, I don't think Carter King or Sam Morton were ever sort of in the top 20 in the NCAA in points. So I would say that might be the difference. But, if you like what you've seen out of Morton and King especially in this, he's been, as an aside, I think Carter King's been sneaky underrated this year. He's just been a really good utility guy for the Wranglers and the Wranglers team that has needed him to move around and to cover a lot of deficiencies this year. And he's been very effective at that. I would say, if you're someone that that wants the Flames to have some good centers and have a lot of options up the middle. They're in accumulation phase right now. They drafted a zillion centers last year. They just got Jonathan Castagna in the trade with Utah. They're going to keep getting centers until their center group coalesces, and I think you can do a lot worse than Tyson Gross. He's very good at the collegiate level.
It's nice that they're finally starting to build some depth at that position in the prospect pool, because it's been a long time since they've had a lot of centers. You throw in Max Coran in there as well.
Yeah, I think he just went under the knife is about to go under the knife for shoulder surgery, but he'll be at UMass next year. So you won't hear the end of us waxing poetic about the merits of the collegiate route. But I agree with you. It's the idea that you can't solve all your problems at once. And I think the Flames last couple of years, a couple years ago, actually when Craig Conroy came in, we're like, man, they don't have a lot of D, do they? Like, they figure out goalies. You already had Wolf, but we're like, what are they going to do? And in the span of a very short span, they got Muse, Brustevich, Perek, Eric Jameson, who's sneaky good and just got named to the all-rookie team in his conference. Weeb, they just got in that trade. Like, they're accumulating on the back end pretty well. And I think you look at the group they have and go, okay, you can probably consider that, if not a position of strength, at the very least, it's no longer a weakness. Center is the next thing. I don't think they need to do much goaltending right now because they got Wolf, they got Sergeyev and Say, they got Zarubin coming up. They're probably going to draft another goalie this year. But center is something they need to figure out, because once you lose Kadri, like, in terms of centers in the organization with established roles who are like, that guy, I know what I'm going to get out of that guy. The list ends at Backlund. The list starts with Backlund. So if the list of excellent players at a position is only Michael Backlund, and this is no knock on Michael Backlund, we love Michael Backlund, you kind of need to give Backlund some backup. And so they're working on it. And signing someone like Tyson Gross would help.
Yeah. And I think it's one of the reasons why they brought in Ryan Strome, is because those centers that we have talked about, throwing Stocksilius and Cole Reshny, those guys are still probably at least 2 or 3 years away from becoming full-time NHLers. So you do need a stopgap in there. And then I do think that's one of the reasons why they brought in Ryan Strome.
Yeah. And like, hell, if you're at a training camp next year, like, let's just say hypothetically Theo Stocksilius comes over and plays with Hitman next year, which means that he'd probably be in Flames camp next year until the Hitman get ready. And so, granted, you're not going to have preseason games, but spending like a week being tutored by a 900-game NHL player in Ryan Strome,
that's great.
In addition to Backlund, in addition to the other guys there, but having it so it's not just Backlund teaching these young guys could be helpful. And so, yeah, I think development camps and prospect camps and training camps the next couple of years are going to be really interesting, if only because you kind of need to have a lot of different types of mentors, and having guys who play your same position and have gone through some stuff and have had to grind to develop is huge. So yeah, I'm very curious what happens with the Flames. I don't think the Flames are going to be, well, just straight up. I asked the general manager at the press conference, hey, how's the free agency market? Are you looking at a bunch of guys? And he said they're looking at one guy. And our thought process is the one guy they're looking at is Tyson Gross. And I would suspect one way or another we'll probably know what's going on in the next few days, maybe later this week, because if someone is going to come in or going to go somewhere else, I don't think you need much more than a week to sort of mull over your offers. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, it's definitely, it'd be cool if they got him, because I don't know, we're suckers for guys who are big and local. We haven't had big and local since
Joe Colborne.
Colborne. What a friendly guy. I hope he's doing well. He was a delight to work with, and I believe a Peter Marr Award winner.
Yeah. And he was a solid Flame. Scored that amazing goal against the Ducks in the second round of the playoffs. Remember that breakaway, that backhand to forehand, wraps it like all the way around the pad. Oh, it was gorgeous.
Sneaky good hands.
Very, and right in the shootout.
Just the friendly. He was the guy in the locker room that every time someone walked in, he'd make eye contact and say and ask you, like, how are you doing? Ask about your family and stuff. Just good dude. Good nice. Dude.
Now, speaking of college free agents, so I went back and looked, and I could find 11 Flames college free agents, in recent memory here. So I thought we'd do a little trivia here, Pike.
Oh, God.
Out of these 11 college free agents, do you think you can name 6 of them?
Okay.
6 college free agents that the Calgary Flames have signed in recent memory. I'll date it back to, say, 2013.
Okay. Kenny Morrison.
Yep.
Sam Morton.
Yep.
Walker Door.
Yep.
Carter King.
Yep.
I
think between the pipes recently.
Bryce Van Brabant.
Bryce Van Brabant. Yes. Yeah.
Owen Say.
Owen Say. Yeah. Give me two more.
I'm drawing a blank now.
There were a couple that were actually like kind of a big deal at the time.
Spencer Fu.
Spencer Fu. Well done.
The
Very
Shanghai,
well done.
wherever the hell they're called now. Space Dragons or something?
That was like a legit big deal at the time that they signed him. I remember he played a few NHL games. He scored.
Because Edmonton wanted him too.
Yeah, we beat out Edmonton.
Edmonton. Looked at Edmonton's roster and went, nah, sorry, bro, going to Calgary. Yeah. And that was a bit, and then he's pretty good. But I mean, I think he hit a level, and then he's like, all right, extra money from the Chinese government to go play in the KHL, and then they moved the team from China for various reasons. Yeah, what a weird experiment the Shanghai team, which now plays in St. Petersburg, was. But they're called they're still called the Shanghai team, even though they're
like the Kulin Red Dragons at one time.
They were Kunlun Red Star,
then
I believe they moved they were in China for such a short amount of time. The travel was murder. Like, it was just, there was nothing else around them. So then they're like, okay, this is a team from China because China is a big TV market, but they play all their games in St. Petersburg because I don't know.
A couple of the others on this list, Garnet Hathaway.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, technically speaking, Ryan Lomberg's one of these, although he's from before the time period.
But they signed him to an AHL contract, right?
So same with Garnet Hathaway.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I mean, out of all these players, the most successful probably has been Garnet Hathaway. He's carved out one hell of an NHL career for himself.
And I believe he has his own beer now.
Does he now? Good for him. Yeah. Little entrepreneurial spirit. I like it. A couple of the others, Connor Mackey. That kind of felt like a big deal at the time. I feel like the Flames won the Connor Mackey sweepstakes, even though that didn't really end up working out. Another trivia question. What trade did he leave Calgary in?
I'm going to draw a complete blank on this one. My brain is basically mush after the last 2 weeks.
The Richie brother swap.
Richie for Richie.
Yeah, he was part of that.
Okay, the Flames are, I think, the only franchise in NHL history where a GM has drafted and then traded their own son, and then brothers have been traded for each other.
That's good. I wish the Flames were known for winning, but at least they got that going for them.
I mean, they also have an arena that looks kind of fun.
Yeah, that's true. They signed Colton Poolman, I believe. And
the Luke man.
I know Luke Felt came from the University of Alberta, not the NCAA, but still a university signing.
And then his brother Noah Philp got signed by the Oilers, and then I believe Luke Noah sort of bounced around a bit too. But
there's your illustrious history of college free agents signed by the Calgary Flames. I'm sure that's exactly why people were coming to the podcast tonight.
I mean, college free agency, like, you tend to get guys that sort of have a different development arc, guys who mature a little bit later, and you might be looking for more role guys than you're looking for stars, but I mean, you know, they
even just guys to fill out your organization in the AHL, like those things help.
Yeah, I mean, hell, you can. There's been cases where teams go nuts trying to find AHL players in the draft. If you find some guys who provide you value, it doesn't really matter where you find them.
Now, in the month of March, that's when teams they'll sign some college free agents. It's also the month where you should buy a truck, Pike. This segment is a presentation of our friends at GMC. It is Truck Month, and it is on now at GMC. If you want something reliable, tough, and ready for whatever the schedule throws at you, that's the 2026 Sierra 1500 Pro Graphite Crew Cab in a nutshell. And it can be yours for 0% financing for 72 months with a factory 2-inch lift, off-road suspension, and a 5.3-liter V8 engine. This is a ready-for-anything truck. Don't miss out. Get to your GMC dealer and take advantage of Truck Month before it ends.
In the comments, Mr. Watts is going nuts because we were talking about Sam Morton. So I'm glad we scratched that itch for you. I think Sam Morton's probably in a position to maybe push for an NHL job next year. I think he's been very good for the Wranglers
this year. I think he should get games as that fourth line center this year. I would be shocked if he didn't. I like him. I like his speed. I like his aggressiveness. I think he's smart, and he's got a decent set of hands too. Like I've been really impressed with him. I've been to a bunch of Wrangler games this year, and he's always stood out as a contributing piece.
And when the Wranglers have been sort of a group looking for someone to sort of do stuff, he's been arguably the most consistent do stuff guy in a group that includes Stromgren and Cairns when he was healthy and other guys. So, this is a pro Sam Morton show. We'll get his name right too, because the other show does not get his name right. I think they're doing it as a bit, but come on, guys, he's played in the show. Rhett's allowed to get his name wrong because he played in the show, but I don't know. Get his name right.
Pike, before we head out here, there was one thing I wanted to ask you, and bringing up Joe Colborne kind of sparked it for me, because in his last season in Calgary, remember that heater he went on in the last 20 or 30 games? He got up to 20 goals. Like, he was playing some unbelievable
And he was
hockey.
in a contract year too.
Exactly, yeah. And the Flames did not qualify him, and he ended up signing with Colorado. I believe he got a hat trick in his first game of the year, and then I think scored 1 goal after that and was cut. But like the reason I bring that up is, how much stock do you think you should put into player performances in a lost season with 20 games remaining? Like with what we're seeing from the Flames here, these games don't matter. Like, how much stock are you putting into what these guys are doing right now?
I mean, it's guys getting reps and guys, showing you how motivated they are when there is no external motivation. So I think it tells you something. I don't think it tells you everything. But I think the most dangerous thing is, especially if using Joe Colborne and that 1 year of Mark Jankowski, where he went on a heater at the end of the year. The arbitration hearing guys do not, you can't go to an arbitration hearing and be like, yeah, it was the last season, someone had to score goals. They'd be like, yeah, he scored 20, so pay him. And that's, I think, one of the more challenging things at the end of the year, because guys are getting opportunities with a depleted roster they might not normally get, and they might go on heaters that shooting percentage is a weird thing. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it just starts going in a ton, like it did for Joel Colborne, or unfortunately, like it's not happening for Matt Coronato. And I think if you look at the aggregate, you look at one guy's body of work and look at the other guys, you go, I bet you this guy's going to score a bit more. But right now, 27 in Calgary is not, and the former number 8 in Calgary just had that hell of a. I'm glad he got paid. He played some good hockey. It's one of those situations where you go, glad that guy got paid. Kind of glad these guys aren't doing that, because wouldn't age well. But wouldn't be the first time that somebody went on a heater playing in the vicinity of Michael Backlund and ended up making a lot of money out of it.
Yeah, at least the Flames don't have to worry about this year, because basically everybody is under contract for next year, outside of Ryan Lomberg and Victor Olofsson, I believe. So yeah, they don't really have to worry about any guys going on heaters and having to re-sign them. But I just thought it was interesting. I know, like, for me personally, I think I'll be putting some stock into how some of the younger guys are looking, especially Matvei Gridin. I've just been so impressed with him. Just his elite vision. Like, I think his passing is incredibly underrated. He made about 4 or 5 high-end passes tonight that were really impressive.
He's one of those guys that you probably know this from having seen him a lot with the Wranglers. He's one of those guys where you kind of need to see him in person to really appreciate the details of this game, because, like, a 20-year-old kid, you would not expect to be as active on the back check as he is. You wouldn't expect him to sort of, like, his head's always moving. He's looking for lanes. He's looking for, like, okay, what's going on? Who's in what position? Like, he's constantly studying and adapting, and, like, the two-way details of this game are like night and day from where they were in October, and they were decent in October. So he's one of those guys that I think you look at and go, okay, imagine him with a little bit more muscle. Imagine him, sort of with that knowledge of a full pro season, sort of knowing where you need to be and sort of how to manage a game and the ebbs and flows of things. So, but yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of guys getting opportunities that they wouldn't normally get. And, how does a player play when you're playing him potentially over his skis? Some guys, it's, they look overwhelmed, and some guys are like, oh, okay, you want me to play 22 minutes? Okay, let's do this. Like, I think there's going to be some guys that really grow their games and sort of open some eyes, but, just ignore shooting percentage. That's all I'm going to say. Like, things might not go in for a lot of guys right now, and you don't want to look at that and go, oh, they're not scoring, I guess they're bad. They're working on it. So this is a process season now. So yeah, you gotta stick to the process, and the process will involve, based on what we've seen in the last 48 hours, probably more L's than W's over the course of the next 18.
A couple other things I'll say about Gridin that I really like. So it's the ability to shoot the puck. I mean, you can tell he's got a high-end shot, great release. He's a very strong playmaker. Like I mentioned, there were, once again, 4 or 5 really impressive cross-ice passes, and just passes that not many guys in the NHL have the vision to execute on. And then I also like how aggressive he is too. Matvey Gridin is not scared to get involved in games, whether it's on the forecheck, battling along the boards. Like, he is not a shy player. He's not afraid of contact. He is a battler. Like, he's got that kind of chip and that edge to him too. So between the skill and then also a little bit of the physicality and aggressiveness to his game, like, I think the sky's the limit for this guy. I'm very excited. I would have him right either at the top or the very top of among Flames forward prospects right now.
The one detail I really love about his game is like his ability to close on the forecheck. Like, he kind of knows, like, before he was sort of, I think he was very fast, but he sort of just, it was like watching a garden hose sort of just like, psh, like, you know, a lot of stuff happening, but you're like, okay, can you direct that a bit more effectively? And like, he's so much more tactical at sort of like the angles he's taking on the forecheck, sort of like pressuring defenders towards certain sides of the ice versus the other one in order to sort of induce a turnover or lead them into pressure rather than sort of like giving them that out to sort of like spin off. So those little things about his game, night and day. And just imagine him with like a summer and then like, you know, a training camp of just going through video of his game and being like, hey, do these two things slightly better and your game will open up a whole lot more. So yeah, if he can be 5% better next year, because he's already pretty good.
Yeah, 100%. I would already argue he's probably their most talented forward right now, and in the top 4 in terms of overall effectiveness right now, probably with Backlund, Coleman. You know, I throw Farabee and Gridin and Frost in that mix. You know, he's right there with those guys right now. He doesn't look out of place.
Oh, and he's 20. This is his first professional season.
Yeah.
He was playing in Shawinigan last year. 2 years ago, he was playing in Muskegon. And then 4 years ago, he was in Russia. I think we're forgetting. I think we're underrating. Like, he's had to learn North America and 4 different leagues, if you include the AHL, in the course of less than 4 years. And it's never impacted the quality of his hockey. If anything, his hockey's gotten appreciably better year over year. So, well done, Matt Gridin. We're sorry Russia couldn't go to the World Juniors, but I don't know. Get out of Ukraine.
If Russia's ever allowed back at an international hockey event, I could see Matvey Gridin being a fixture on those teams for multiple Olympics and World Championships and all that kind of stuff. I think he's that good.
Because Kuznetsov's not far off either.
Yeah, well, especially because the Russian D core is not all that deep. So Kuznetsov definitely has a chance there. Jack, do we have any super chats by chance?
Nothing, boys.
Nothing. Wow, not even from RB.
Not even from us talking about Sam Morton. Not even from Robert's extensively researched college UFAs. Next time we'll do a show together, he'll talk to me about European free agents. We'll wax poetic about Daniel Preibel and David Wolf.
Jeez. So if David Wolf doesn't generate a super chat, I don't know what will.
Okay, you've all watched The Simpsons. You know Rainier Wolfcastle, the guy who plays McBain?
Yeah.
David Wolf is McBain in human form. Like, he just looks like McBain. He's got the great accent. I'm so sad it didn't work out for him in North America. By all accounts, I believe he's still playing in Germany, but just a great footnote. There's been 2 Wolves in Flames history, both with the first initial D. One is already a top 10 goalie in franchise history at this rate. The other one is David Wolf, who is not a goalie and is I think a 1-game wonder. 1 or 2 games. He didn't play very much, but he's memorable.
I remember him patrolling the blue line during warm-up. I think it was game 4 of the playoffs in 2017 against Anaheim. And he was just acting like an idiot out there in warm-up. And I'm like, I love this guy. This is fantastic.
I don't think there's any chance that David Wolf was anywhere near a playoff game.
Oh, he's just in warm-up. He was definitely a healthy scratch, but he was just in warm-up, just chirping everybody. And I'm like, that's fantastic. He always reminded me of like a worse Milan Lucic. Like, he had the hunchback. He was huge, no hands whatsoever, but he was just there to.
Here's a fun thing. David Wolf and I have the same birthday, but I'm 4 years older.
That's fascinating. Now
he
got a super chat out of that.
Yeah, he was born in Dusseldorf on my birthday when I was 4 years old. He was born in Dusseldorf. Oh, he played 3 NHL games.
Okay,
3 games.
Did he play in the playoffs?
1 shot on goal. 0 playoff games.
0 playoff. Okay, but I definitely remember him in that warm up. But there we go. You and David Wolf share a birthday. That's fantastic.
Yeah,
it's like me and Keith Jones.
I think it's Oliver Stone, Prince Harry, and David Wolf and I all share a birthday.
Very nice. I got Gordon Ramsay. So I got that
that's
going for
That's
me.
a good one.
Yeah. that's
Chat,
a-
who do
really
you
good
share
one.
birthdays with? Also, give money to the damn kids.
I'm Googling it right now. I forget.
Now,
Yeah.
Jack, who do you share a birthday with? Do you know
That's
off
what
the
I'm
top of your head?
Googling. I don't know off the top of my head.
Hey, you
I'm
know,
pretty sure-
while you're googling it, I'll do the old super chat ad read here. So, if you guys want to get your comment read on the show, send us in a super chat. Proceeds from our super chat go to the Youth Centers of Calgary. Youth Centers of Calgary is a place where kids are welcome and accepted as they are, a place where they can get a break from the chronic stress and reality that is life for many of them, and it's a place where they can flourish through connection and fun. Back to you, Jack.
Everybody
Nelly.
likes fun.
The most famous person is Nelly.
Nelly. That's a
Yeah,
throwback.
That's pretty good. Jack, when's your birthday?
November 2nd.
Ooh. Okay, chat. Everyone in the chat, you were witnesses to being told his birthday. So when we have a November 2nd show / game, we're gonna give you crap for forgetting Jack's birthday.
Make a note, everybody. I think I got Johnny Bauer as well from a hockey standpoint.
That's a good one.
And Keith Jones. Speaking of Keith Jones and the Philadelphia Flyers, they're in action tomorrow night. Jack, if you want to pull up the Bet365 odds for tomorrow night's games, there's 2 games in the NHL. We got the Montreal Canadiens in Ottawa to take on the Ottawa Senators, and then after that, we got the Washington Capitals and Philadelphia Flyers. And Pike, I don't know if you've been following Flyers fans on Twitter recently. They are not happy. They despise Rick Tocchet. And I kind of feel bad for Tocchet because the guy was an absolute legend, one of the great Philadelphia Flyers of all time. But people hate him as a head coach with just his treatment of Matvei Mishkov, and he's not playing younger players. Like, people are roasting him. Like, they're calling for his head. It's crazy. Have you been following along at all?
I've been a little bit busy here, but I one of my close friends covers the Flyers. I don't know. I like Rick Tocchet. I think he's smart, but like sometimes smart people just aren't fits for particular groups. I mean, there's been plenty of instances where there's been good coaches just put in environments where you're like, okay, just the mix is just not going with them right now.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And especially like the Flyers, like, what is their direction exactly? Like, are they?
Oh, they're mushy middle. They're
I think that's the challenge. Like he's an accountability guy, and I think when you're sort of a lukewarm team, it's kind of tough to figure out, like, okay, is he teaching? Is he cracking the whip? Is he a little of both? I think it's tough to do a little of both, and I think you kind of need to pick a direction there.
Yeah, I'm with you. I feel like Rick Tocchet, he's the kind of coach that you'd want on a contending team. I feel like he's the kind of guy that can get you from point A to point B like he did with that pretty good Canucks team in 2023, but he is not a rebuilding coach because he's all about winning. He doesn't care about development. He doesn't care about young players. He's all about just winning hockey games. So I don't think it was the right coach for the right time for the Flyers, but hey, that's their decision. Afterburner is a presentation of Bet365. Whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app and get in on the game. Use the code NATION. We'll wrap things up here, Pike. Team Tank, rejoice. Enjoy this tonight. Enjoy this 4-0 loss. You're that much closer to hopefully securing a bottom 3 spot in the NHL standings and giving yourself the best lottery odds possible to land Gavin McKenna or Ivar Stenberg. I don't know what you, Pike. I'm in the camp where I think they need to finish in the bottom 2 to secure one of those forwards. I don't want to put the Flames in a position where they have to draft Keaton Verhoff because they need so much help from an elite forward talent perspective right now. So I really hope they can somehow end up with Gavin McKenna or Ivar Stenberg.
Best player available. All you can do is best player available.
BPA. I like it. Well, thanks everybody for joining Pike and myself tonight on Afterburner. Calgary Flames lose 4-0 in the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden. 4-0. That'll do it for us. Thanks again for joining, and we'll see you next time on Afterburner.